चेंज नहीं किया होगा ना इसका What are you coming right early?
Yeah.
Change it, okay?
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanand Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Sri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Chandra ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 9, Text 18. Swamatuhu Svinna Gatraya Visrasta Kavarasrajaha Drishtva Parishramam Krishnaha Krupayasit Swabandhane. Swamatuhu Gatraya Drishtva Parishramam Krishnaha Krupayasit Swabandhane. Swamatuhu Svinna Gatraya Visrasta Kaparadvajaha Drishtva Parishramam Krishnaha Krupayasit Swabandhane. Swamatuhu Svinna Gatraya Visrasta Kabarasrajaha Drishtva Parishramam Krishna Krupayasit Swabandhane. Swamatuhu, of his own mother, Krishna's mother, Yashoda Devi. Svinna Gatraya. When Krishna saw his mother perspiring all over because of unnecessary labor, Visrasta, were falling down, Kabara, from her hair, Srajaha, of whom the flowers, Drishtva, by seeing the condition of his mother, Parishramam, he could understand that she was now overworked and feeling fatigued. Krishnaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kripaya, by his causeless mercy upon his devotee and mother, Asit, agreed, Swabandhane, in binding him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because of Mother Yashoda's hard labor, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers and comb were falling from her hair. When child Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, he became merciful to her and agreed to be bound. Please repeat. Because of Mother Yashoda's hard labor, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers and comb were falling from her hair. When child Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, he became merciful to her and agreed to be bound. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Mother Yashoda and the other ladies finally saw that Krishna, although decorated with many bangles and other jeweled ornaments, could not be bound with all the ropes available in the house, they decided that Krishna was so fortunate that he could not be bound by any material condition. Thus they gave up the idea of binding him. But in competition between Krishna and his devotee, Krishna sometimes agrees to be defeated. Thus Krishna's internal energy, Yogamaya, was brought to work, and Krishna agreed to be bound by Mother Yashoda. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So Mother Yashoda has been trying to bind Krishna, baby Krishna, and she was not able to, even though she brought all the rope in the house, and the gopis are watching the fun, and Mother Yashoda is perspiring. Svinna Gatraya, lot of unnecessary labor. Swamatuhu Svinna Gatraya. Krishna saw his own mother undergoing this labor, and she is with Visrasta Kabaratsrajaha. Her flowers were falling from her head. Drishtva, Krishna seeing this, what did Krishna see? Parishramam, seeing that hard work of Mother Yashoda, Krishna became Krupaya Asit Swabandhane. Swabandhane Asit. He agreed to be bound by Mother Yashoda. So the interesting thing in the purport that I observed is, what did they think? That the other ladies, when Mother Yashoda and other ladies, they see that Krishna is not able to be bound, what did they think? See, their love for the child, their thinking is an ordinary child. So they decided that Krishna was so fortunate that he could not be bound by any material condition. And then they gave up the idea of binding him. And then Krishna agreed to be bound. Just like an ordinary child, again, Yogamaya covered the devotees and then they quickly bound the child. So, in devotional service, Krishna similarly, he waits until the devotee becomes eager to render devotional service to give the result. Like in the case of Narada Muni, as we know, his mother was bringing him up, and then he was following these great devotees, and then suddenly his mother died, and then he took that as an opportunity. He started wandering And then he started to meditate on the Lord. And in no time, he saw the darshan of the Lord. And he was in ecstasy. And then what happened? And the Lord immediately disappeared. And then he was looking for it very intently. And then the Lord's vibration appeared. And then he said, in Bhagavatam this verse is described, what the Lord said. Narada Muni is saying, I desired to see again the transcendental form of the Lord. But despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness, to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. And thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. So when we also work hard in devotional service, sometimes we don't see the result. We can become dissatisfied and aggrieved. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. He says, there is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. So it's not like, oh, you do this and the Lord is obliged to show up before you. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before our vision. Just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. Beautiful example. The sun rises out of its own accord. So also the Lord is pleased to be present out of His causeless mercy. One should simply await the opportune moment. So what one should do? One should simply await the opportune moment and go on discharging his prescribed duty. 10 out of 10. Of course, devotional service. But Prabhupada says, go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord. So both are given. Narada Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. Sometimes, some days, chanting works out very well. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to sit in the same place. I'm going to wear the same shirt. Sometimes we have this kind of sentiments. Oh, this worked out today. Tomorrow also let me do the same. But the Lord may not reciprocate. So Narada Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely of all obligations. Huh? No, independent is the right answer. The Lord is completely independent of all obligations. He can simply be bound up by the tie of unalloyed devotion. Nor is he visible or perceivable by our material senses. When he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord. He may be seen out of his own accord. We cannot demand the Lord. So, of course, we should try sincerely to please the Lord. And then we should await for the causeless mercy of the Lord. Lord Brahma's famous prayer. Earnestly, we should await for the causeless mercy. Tattenu kampam. Susamikshamaano. Samikshamano. Earnestly waiting for the causeless mercy of the Lord. While we wait, what we should continue to do? Bhunjana evatma kritam vibhakam. What is that? Tad hridvag vapurbhir vidadhan namaste. With our heart, words and body, we should render full devotional service. And jivetayo, and one who lives like this, what happens? Mukti pade sadaya bhak. It's a very interesting usage of the words. Mukti pade means, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu clarifies that the Lord's lotus feet is also called mukti. Mukti pada does not refer to the impersonalist's liberation. It refers to the lotus feet of the Lord. So, we can attain the lotus feet of the Lord, sad dayabhak. What is dayabhak? It's the inheritance. Just like a child, a son, automatically gets the inheritance of the father. He doesn't have to work hard for it. Isn't it? By being the son, automatically that inheritance is given. So, jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. And Brahma's another prayer also. Here Krishna is conquered by the devotees. Where does Brahma say that Krishna is conquered by the devotees? Krishna's name is what is the meaning of Ajita? Ajita. He cannot be conquered. Ajitopi jitopiasi. Yes. Gnane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvan manobhir e prayaso jita jitopyasita istrilokyam. So again, similar to the previous verse, hridvag vapurbhir vidadhan namaste. And here it is said, sthane stataha shrutigatam tanuvan manobhir. Again, we should render service with tanu, vak, manobhihi. With our body, words and mind. And the importance is given to hearing. Shrutigatam, bhavadiya vartam, from sanmukharitam. Hearing your transcendental glories from the words, from the mouths of pure devotees. And then even the Lord who is unconquerable becomes conquered. Ajitopi, jitopyasi. Krishna, in that pastime that we all know, Ambarisha and Durvasa Muni pastime. So Durvasa Muni goes to all places, isn't it? And finally he even goes to the Lord, Vaikuntha. So what does the Lord say there? What does he tell? Okay, I'll protect you. So what does he tell Durvasa Muni? So he says something very powerful. Shri Bhagavan uvacha aham bhakta paradhino hi asvatantra ivadvija sadhubhir grasta hridayo bhaktair bhakta jana priyaha. So what does it mean? Aham bhakta paradhino means adhin, bhakta paradhin. I am dependent on the will of my devotees. See? I am dependent on the will of my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino. He asvatantra iva dvija. O dvija, O Brahmana, indeed I am asvatantra. I don't have independence. And we say the Lord is supremely independent. Swarat. But here it is said, asvatantra, I am asvatantra. I am completely dependent on my devotees. Sadhubir grasta hridayo. Grasta hridaya. My heart is controlled by whom? Sadhubihi. By pure devotees, here Prabhupada translates, by pure devotees, completely free from all material desires. Bhaktaihi bhakta janapriyaha. Because they are devotees, I am dependent. So see here, Prabhupada translates, Bhaktaihi bhakta janapriyaha. I am dependent not only on my devotees, but also on, but also on my devotee's devotee. The devotee's devotee is extremely dear to me. So one time in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord, after the Radha Yatra and they stay for 4 months, these devotees, they all go from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to witness the Radha Yatra. And after Radha Yatra, they stay for 4 months of the Chaturmas. And then they leave, they go back. And when they are leaving, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talks to each of them and glorifies them. And they take some instruction until they come back next year. So he says one group of devotees from Kulinagram. He tells them, I am so much sold out to these devotees of Kulinagram. What to speak of the devotees? Even the dog in Kulinagram is so dear to me. Even a dog born in Kulinagram is so dear to me. See how, and we also know that famous pastime, how the Lord delivered that dog who is given shelter by Shivananda Sen. So I told this story in the class yesterday. So there was this rich man, very rich, unlimited, practically unlimitedly rich, and then he passed away. So he wrote in his will, because when he passes away, that according to the will, the money is distributed to the children. So he had 4 sons. So he wrote in the will, so the lawyer came out and started to read the will. And he said, your father's will says that you can all choose one thing that he possesses. You can choose whatever you want. Because his father is a big businessman, he possesses so many things. So the first son, he said, I want to acquire that soccer team that my father possesses. You know, these days, these sports leagues, the franchisees, they value a lot of money. And so yes, you can take that. And the second son, he wants that huge fleet of that boats that the father operates, that cruises and all that. A lot of money. Is that the only thing you want? Yes. Are you happy? Yes. Take it. And the third son, he wants, I'm an investor. I want all the investing property of my father. Said, okay, you take it. Are you happy? Yes. And then the fourth son is waiting. And then he said, no, you didn't fully read the will. So you are smart. So what is the will? He says, you can all take one thing, whatever in that business you want. But after all of that is done, whatever is remaining will go to my personal servant. Because he's been so loyal to me. He worked hard without looking for his many material motive. He gave pure love for me. So whatever my 4 sons take, the remaining will go to my personal servant. And then the lawyer asks, 4th son, so what do you want? I want the servant. Very smart choice, right? So the point is that Krishna is unlimited. Krishna can give whatever we want on the material platform. But Krishna is so dependent, so moved by the will of his devotee, that if we take shelter of his devotee, if we choose his devotee, then by devotee's recommendation, Krishna has to accept us. So, all of you, all of us, we have chosen Srila Prabhupada, Hari Bol, pure devotee of the Lord. So if we stick to Srila Prabhupada's instructions, the Lord has to accept us. Because he is saying, Asvatantra iva dvijaha. There is another verse from Bhagavatam, very interesting, very instructive. Because these demigods, they are all looking for Shriyam Anucharatim. Who is Shriyam? Lakshmi Devi. So, the goddess of fortune, the kings of this world, the famous personalities, the demigods, they are all looking for the favor of Shriyam. So it is said, Shriyam Anucharatim Tadardhinascha Dvipadapadin Vibudhamscha Yat Swapurnaha Na Bhajati Nijabhrutya Varga Tantraha Katham Amum Udvisrujet Puman Krutagnaha. So Shriyam Anucharatim Tadardhinascha, the goddess of fortune, she follows Krishna. And there are people who aspire for her. Tadardhinaha, Vibudhaha, Vipadapatin, the rulers of the human beings, demigods. They are all aspiring for goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune is Anucharatim, following Krishna. But Krishna, he does not even bother looking at goddess of fortune, who is sought after by all these great personalities. Why? Because Na bhajati, he does not care for her, because Nijabhrutya Varga Tantraha, he is dependent on his Nijabhrutya. What is his devotees. Kadham amum udvisrujet puman kritagnaha. Where is that person who is actually grateful and will not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So Bhrutya means is devotee. That Kulashekara prayers. Majjanmanaha phalamidam madhukaita bhare matprardhaniya madanugraha esha eva tadbhrutya bhrutya paricharaka bhrutya bhrutya bhrutyasya bhrutya itimam smaralokanadha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Gopi bhattuh padakamalayur dasa dasa anu dasa. 3 times he used the word dasa. And how many times Kulashekara used? 7 times? Tad bhrutya bhrutya paricharaka bhrutya bhrutya bhrutyasya bhrutya. 6 times, right? Maybe you can count again. So he wants to become, you will show me real mercy. Your real mercy for me is when you make me your devotee of devotee of devotee of devotee of devotee. Majjanmanaha phalam, that is my birth's ultimate success. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, just like Krishna becomes dependent, as Krishna is saying, Asvatantra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes dependent on his devotees. One time when, we all know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyasa, he went to, where did he go? Shantipur? No, after that. He made his headquarters as Jagannath Puri. And then he went to South India trip. And he delivered all the people of South India. And he came back. And then he wanted to visit Vrindavan. And somehow Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, they would find some means, some tricks they would tell to deter, to postpone the trip of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So 2 years like that, somehow they tell the Lord, no, you cannot go. So third year, after Radha Yatra, usually the Bengal devotees, they stay for 4 months. But third year, they leave immediately after Radha Yatra. So that will be about July time frame, right? And then the Lord goes to Sarvabhauma and Ramananda Rai. And then he tells, see, I am so dependent on you. I work like a doll. I mean, whatever you say, I have to follow. I am so dependent on you. At least let me go this time, no? Somehow by your tricks. Last 2 years I have been trying to go to Vrindavan, but I could not go. Please give me permission so I can go. See, he is the Supreme Lord. Why does he have to take permission from the devotees? I am completely dependent on you. I am maintained by you, he says. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, they feel really bad that they have stopped the Lord from going to Vrindavan. That is his heart's desire. And they feel really bad. But they said, my Lord, at least wait until the rainy season finishes. Then also they are not agreeing. And then after that, after Vijayadashmi, you can go. And the Lord says, okay, at least they have agreed now this year. And then he waits. And then Vijayadashmi comes. And then right after the Vijayadashmi day, he starts to go to Vrindavan. And Prataparudra comes. He cannot bear the separation of the Lord. He falls on the lotus feet of the Lord. By the time the Lord has become softened on him, and he makes arrangements. Everywhere the Lord goes, there has to be monuments, there has to be the tents, there has to be proper prasadam, there has to be, every place he visits must be declared as a holy place. So like that, and then the Lord starts to visit this place with huge number of, all these devotees start to go with him. And then there is, of course, one of the Panchatattva devotees, he starts to follow the Lord up to Katak. And then the Lord sends him back. Who is the devotee? Huh? Gadadhar Pandit? So why does the Lord send him back? Huh? So what is Kshetra Sannyasi? Night? It's interesting. Kshetra Sannyasa means they have taken a vow not to leave that Kshetra. Maybe night time they have to come back. So, Gadadhar Pandit cannot bear the separation of the Lord. So he keeps following the Lord, and the Lord says, no, you cannot come with me. You have taken Kshetra Sannyasa, you have to go back. And Gadadhar Pandit says, my vows can go to hell, but I cannot bear separation from you. I will come with you. And then you know what the Lord says? Chastises him so strongly. He says, you desiring to come with me at the cost of breaking your regulative principles and vows is your sense gratification. Very strong chastisement. He is Gadadhar Pandit, eternal associate of the Lord. The Lord is chastising him. It is your sense gratification to be with me, leaving your service. Very instructive, isn't it? So when we are given a service, even though it may not be very pleasing. It may not be in front of the altar or kirtan and all the happening things. You may be somewhere away, very austere. But leaving that just to witness the Lord or partake of those events, it can also be called sense gratification. Of course, it's heavy chastisement. In front of the Lord, anything is service, either taking darshan or doing any other service. But once you are given that service, what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter? Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat. Next. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. So what does it mean by that? It is better to do your own duty perfectly than to imitate, I can do that better. No, even if you think you can do that better, Shreyan, stick to your own duty, what is given to you, than imitating somebody else's. Swadharme nidhanam, becoming destroyed in one's own duty, is better than imitating somebody else's. Like Krishna is telling Arjuna, you think you can give up battle and beg and be like a Brahmana? Yes, you may do it properly for 1 or 2 days. And suddenly somebody comes and say, hey, what kind of beggar? You get lost. He's a Kshatriya, he'll take the sword. Right? So you cannot do that. So better you, whatever is given to you, you do that. So and then Gadadhar Pandit immediately falls down unconscious. Cannot bear the separation from the Lord. And the Lord immediately goes away. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya consoles Gadadhar Pandit and brings him back. So I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Yeah. He. Gopis, what is that bangles thing? Krishna, although decorated with many bangles and other jeweled ornaments, could not be bound with, they were able to put all that to Krishna, but they could not tie the simple thing. They were able to tie the ornaments easily. They were able to do all of that. They were able to put the bangles. But a small rope they could not tie. That's the point. Possible. Yeah, possible. Yeah, you had a question. Yeah. Yeah, so not all demigods are necessarily pure devotees. Not all demigods are necessarily. Shiva, of course, is a pure devotee. And then you should understand that the demigods are a position. Shiva is not a position. But other demigods, they are positions. And any person can occupy that position. And that person may be pure devotee, may not be pure devotee. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is, yes, if you are sure that that person is the demigod is a pure devotee, there is no harm in worshipping that demigod with an intent to serve Krishna. Like the gopis went to Katyayani. What is their intent? To get Krishna as the husband. Even Rukmini Devi went to worship Durga temple, right? With an intent. What is the intent? To worship Krishna, to get service of Krishna. So, the reason why our acharyas do not recommend worship of the demigods is because the general mass, they do not understand. The moment you permit this, it will all get degenerated into separate worship of this, thinking they are to be independent gods. So even if we know they are pure devotees, officially our recommendation is just Krishna, stick to Krishna. When you are on the level of gopis and acharyas and on that platform, like Nanda Maharaj and all, they celebrated Shivaratri and all that. They are transcendental. Their only goal is to serve Krishna. For that, they worshipped all the devatas also. Does that clarify your question? So, it's time. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.